Your worst day sometimes could become your best day if you use it. If you don't let it use you. Like stress can use you or you use stress. It's your choice. Most people let stress use them. Technology, most people let technology use them at this point. I decided on 3 different decisions than my father at that time. I focused on there was food, and the second decision, what does this mean? This means strangers care, and that's what changed my life. When I was a little kid, came from a pretty tough environment. We had no money and no food at Thanksgiving. What changed my life was somebody probably like you that was kind. The first decision we all make in our lives, you're making it right now as I'm speaking. You may not be making these decisions consciously, but you're making these decisions. And the problem in life is life doesn't usually change because we just answer questions in our own mind habitually without thinking them through. The first decision we all make, you're making in this moment, is what are you going to focus on? There are millions of things you can focus on right now, but whatever you focus on, write down focus equals feeling. Whatever you focus on, you will feel. Whether it's true or not doesn't matter. If you change your focus, you instantly change how you feel. We don't experience life. We experience the life we focus on. We have that ability every moment, but we just don't use it. We let ourselves have a habitual way of thinking as opposed to taking control of our focus. We must take control of our focus. The second decision we make is, what does something mean? The minute you focus on something, you have to decide, what does it mean? Is this the end or the beginning? Is this person dissing me, disrespecting me? Are they challenging me? Or are they coaching me? Or are they loving on me? Whichever meaning you come up with will instantly change your feelings, and your feelings will control your actions. So your focus, that's the first piece. The second piece is meaning. And we get to control what it means. See, if you think it's the end of a relationship, will you behave the same way as if you think it's the beginning of a relationship? Because those meanings are producing the emotions, and the emotions are making the third decision for you, what action you're going to take. If you're pissed off, you're going to act very differently than if you're feeling generous, or you're feeling creative, or playful, or fun, or sad. So those 3 decisions control our lives. But you know what? There are 3 patterns that just by changing one of these patterns, you can completely change how you experience your life. You focus on more what you have or what's missing. We all do both, right? But here's the thing you need to understand. Most achievers, overachievers, tend to focus on what's missing. That gives them a lot of drive, but it makes them never be able to sustain happiness. How could you ever sustain happiness if you're always focusing on what's missing? There's a time to notice what's missing. But if you do it all the time, you're like the hamster on the wheel. It doesn't matter how much you achieve, you're never fulfilled. So it's really important for us to get crystal clear on the pattern of how we focus. How would you feel no matter what's going on in your life if those are your 2 patterns of focus? Do you tend to focus more on the past, the present, or the future? If you want an extraordinary quality of life, though, you have to be able to shift gears and notice what you do have. So whatever you focus on, you're going to feel. You already know the things to do. My job today is perhaps to get you to get yourself to actually do those things. Right? To put yourself in a state, a mindset of psychology every single day, no matter what's happening in the external world, so that you're in charge of your life and you can succeed in any market. You have to decide that I'm going to own that. And I'm not going to have any excuses, and I'm going to find a way to do better than ever before. And I probably will have to work harder than I did 2 years ago. The challenge is most people think so short term. Most people overestimate what they're going to do in a year, and they underestimate what they're going to do in a decade, or 2, or 3, or 4. In my case, is 4.5 plus. So I'm telling you this because you can take control of everything by just controlling these 3 decisions. What I'm going to focus on, what's it going to mean, and what I'm going to do. If you take control of those, you literally take control of your life. Everybody wants to improve, nobody wants to change. But in order to get what we need to do, one of the things you got to do is you're going to discover that you need to use your nervous system more. So one of the things that helped me to transform was when I began to study patterns. There are patterns in everything that we do. If someone is great at anything, they're a student of patterns. Whether it's investing, whether it's business, whether it's sales, whatever it is, music, arts, dancing, it's patterns. And everything in our lives are patterns. In fact, a little more than 50% of what we do every day is habit. We have the same thoughts, most of us, every day. So we have the same experience every day. So if you want a new life, you got to break some of those patterns. And when I started learning about patterns and how to shift patterns, that became the huge breakthrough. First, I learned how to change my own patterns. I didn't need to change me. There were just these habits. And it's really hard to change yourself. It's not hard to change a pattern. And when I started learning how to do that, I started learning how to do it with others. And then gradually it got more interesting and more complex. Once I learned enough about how to shift patterns and do it quickly, I began to see the patterns that were in everyone. So it started out with me just asking a question. What makes the difference in the quality of people's lives? Why are there so many people who perform so poorly when they have so much ability or potential? That some people can suffer their whole life. They can have injustice of every type. They can be unloved, they can be treated poorly, they can be physically abused, and come back and be an Oprah. And there are other people that they were loved, they were supported, they're given the education, the money, and they spend their whole life going in and out of rehab. Because biography is not destiny. Decision is destiny. You change everything when you make a new decision. And the first decisions are those that you're going to focus on, the meanings and doings. But you have to decide, you have to put the line in the sand of what you're going to settle for. We all get what we tolerate. I don't mean in other people, I mean in ourselves. And so one of the most important things that happened for me is I grew up and I was, 4 different fathers who were very poor, and I was not a popular kid, but I loved people. And the most popular kid in my high school was like the most mean planet. And he treated me and my buddies like and I was like, how is this guy the most popular guy? And it made me want to study, so I didn't have anybody to learn from, so I took a speed reading course and said, I don't read a book a day. I didn't do that. I read about 700 books over a period of 7 years in human development, psychology, physiology, until I could start seeing patterns and know what to do to change them. And then I learned some techniques like Gestalt and neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis and things where I could make changes in minutes that I thought would take years. And then I started challenging psychiatrists and psychologists and saying, give me your worst patient, I'll handle them in an hour, not 7 years. And so now I train all those psychologists, but in the beginning I was trying to prove myself to them and to myself probably more than anything else. There's a reason why we do what we do. And when you understand the reasons behind human behavior, you can influence it, which is your job, my job too. The number one principle to success in anything is the difference in your energy level. There is nothing that replaces it, as basic as it is. Low energy, low performance. High energy, high performance. So your emotional states are the most powerful thing in the world, and they're based on energy. If you change your energy, you'll change your relationship. If you change your energy, you'll change your business. So learning to shift your energy is the single most important thing in life. What are you going to be around when all hell's breaking loose and people are freaking out? When somebody go like, what do we do? I don't know. What do you think? Or no, somebody goes, move. I'll handle it. That energy difference is everything. We've gotten used to a much lower level of energy since COVID. People got used to sitting on their butt at home. People don't even want to go to work anymore. We have let our energy get so low, we don't even know it because we're comparing to the people around us and everybody's dropped. 4 years of being cooped up changed society, added a few pounds, shifted the way people think. And if you're going to be the best in the world, you have to just shift back to better than pre-COVID. And then you'll crush everyone. It doesn't matter what the market is. But you got to have that kind of energy. If you can recognize patterns, you will not be fearful. Because you'll see this has happened before, and you'll be able to anticipate what's going to happen. Losers react. Leaders anticipate. Good times create weak people. In every country of the world throughout history, good times create weak people. They don't mean to be weak, it's just they don't have to be strong. Good times create weak people. Weak people create bad times. Bad times create strong people. And strong people create great times. And then great times create weak people again. And this is why the history of the world looks the way it is. To influence another human being, you have to know what already influences them. The mental emotional state is the number one thing that influences people. If someone is in an angry state, no matter what you say, they're going to behave very differently than if they're feeling grateful or excited or playful, obviously. So being able to change someone's state, including your own, is one of the single most important skills in life. And being able to do it in seconds, not something that takes forever, not some phony pump up, not I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, I'm happy, and your brain goes read between the lines, I'm not happy. Moment to moment, you're completely controlled by your state. Most people don't celebrate enough, and our nervous system starts to get weaker and weaker in terms of being linked for joy. Whatever you do regularly in your nervous system becomes a habit. So if you're always trying to fit in or not be too happy or not too this or not too that, or you're just reacting to the environment, you're not priming your nervous system for your best.